Welcome to Football with Cheese. So in the last video, we did the best players at each position on offense. And in this video, we're going to do the same thing, but with defense. If you are new to the channel, though, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss one of my videos. Let me have it in the comments. What do you agree with? What you disagree with? I do honorable mentions in these videos, so I don't leave as many people out. Still, I'm sure you'll disagree with me on some, and yeah, let me know in the comments if there's a player I left out. I did a lot of research, so hopefully I did not leave anyone out. And make sure you stay to the end, because I'm going to go over each team, who had the most, who had the least. There were 6 teams that had 0 on this list, and it makes sense when you see the teams. Okay, this was offense. I'll link the video for the offense if you did not catch it. I just kind of spoiled it for you if you hadn't. Okay, we'll start with nose tackle. I decided to separate it from other interior defensive linemen. Most teams don't have a true nose tackle, but I have to mention Dexter Lawrence. He was kind of banged up this year, but as far as pass rush and run stopping ability, especially pass rush for his size, he's just been incredible for so many years. Probably a future Hall of Famer. He's just on a very bad team. Honorable mention, I have to talk about Poona Ford. Some of you will probably like, who? He's bounced around the league. He played for the Chargers last year, then the Rams. He signed a 3-year deal, but he's really good at stopping the tush push, and he's just always been a very good player. Maybe not elite, not Hall of Famer, but he's such an unbelievable run defender. He's the kind of player every team should try to sign. Rams luckily got him. He really helped out their run defense this past year. Okay, defensive tackle. Basically, these guys are 3-4 defensive ends or 4-3 defensive tackles. The best run-stopping one is Quentin Williams, in my opinion, Dallas Cowboys. And the best pass-rushing defensive tackle is Jeffrey Simmons for the Titans. He had an incredible season. Most people don't talk about it because he's on the Titans. And honorable mention, I went with DeForest Buckner, Indianapolis Colts. Just an all-around great player for many years. I know he was hurt this year, but I don't care. He is incredible. And Chris Jones would have been in the Jeffrey Simmons slot last year. His play dropped off, especially his run defense, and I just cannot get out of my head the late in game against Jacksonville, he's just standing around. I get it. Defensive tackles, if you play a lot of snaps, you're going to have to take some plays off, but not at the end of the game, not when Trevor Lawrence is falling down, getting up, and trying to score, and the Jaguars did win that game. So can't get it out of my head, but he's still an incredible pass-rushing interior defensive lineman. Edge rusher, I think this is pretty obvious. Myles Garrett, Cleveland Browns, and Micah Parsons, Green Bay Packers. I mean, there's a lot of good edge rushers in this league, but to me, these two they're on a different level than the rest of them. Myles Garrett obviously broke the sack record, Defensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons led the league in pressure percentage, double and triple teams before he got injured. Just incredible players. Honorable mention, I'm with Will Anderson Jr., Houston Texans. Really had an amazing year. Just has gotten better each year in the league. And then Aiden Hutchinson, he did not have a typical Aiden Hutchinson year. He was still very good, but coming off that compound fracture, I expect him maybe a year after that to be even better next year, but he's still an incredible player. Off-ball linebacker, I went with Fred Warner, San Francisco 49ers, and Devin Lloyd, Jacksonville Jaguars. Fred Warner has been the best middle linebacker in the NFL probably for 4 or 5 straight years. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's just good at every single aspect of being an off-ball linebacker. It's a shame for the 49ers he got hurt this year. And Devin Lloyd, he's going to be a free agent, breakout season. He was always just like good or above average, and then all of a sudden this year he became a playmaker, really helped out that defense. One of the most improved defenses in the NFL. An honorable mention, I went with Zach Bond. He would have been in the Devin Lloyd spot last year. Incredible season, helped the Eagles win a Super Bowl. He was still very good this year. And I went with Edgerrin Cooper, Green Bay Packers. He's a really good run defender, really good blitzer, and he's really good in coverage. He just flies to the ball. Probably going to be an all-pro, if not next year, in future years. Cornerback, I went with Patrick Surtain, Denver Broncos, and Christian Gonzalez, New England Patriots. I just spoiled the honorable mention with the picture. But, yeah, Pat Surtain, he won Defensive Player of the Year last year. He was not as good this year, but he's still an incredible player. Great against man, great against zone. And I think the best pure man cover corner in the NFL, he's past Sauce Gardner, is Christian Gonzalez, New England Patriots. What a postseason he had. The Patriots defense was incredible in those 4 postseason games, and Christian Gonzalez was the best player on that defense throughout the postseason. He's one of the best players in the NFL. And honorable mention, obviously, Devin Witherspoon. I love the old school uniforms. I mentioned that in my offensive video. Seattle's uniforms, God, were so much better back then. When they switched them up, we used to call them the Steve Largent uniforms because, he was the legendary Seahawks player that wore those uniforms, but they need to go back to that. Anyway, Devin Witherspoon, he's, once again, great at zone, great in man, and you saw in the Super Bowl how good a blitzer he is. And Trent McDuffie, got to mention him for the Chiefs. He's probably the best pure slot corner in the NFL, so he makes the honorable mention. And then we go with safety. Kyle Hamilton, Baltimore Ravens. Brian Branch, Detroit Lions. Kyle Hamilton is the best safety in the NFL, to me, on a level by himself, because he's the best deep safety and the best in the box safety. He's played both. And when the Ravens defense was struggling in the 2024 season, they moved him to deep safety, and all of a sudden their defense was good again. Like, one player just changed that defense. And then Brian Branch, he's really good at slot corner. He's really good at box safety. Is he best at each of those positions? No, but he's just very good at all of them. All right, honorable mention. Julian Love, Seattle Seahawks. He had an interception of Drake May. He's just been consistently good, game in, game out, year in, year out, since he joined the Seahawks from the Giants. One of the most underrated players in the NFL. I'm going to do the most underrated players at every position. I'm still doing research on it. I'm most of the way done. So that'll either come out later on the week, probably next week is when I'll release those. And Julian Love will be mentioned as the safety. And Xavier McKinney, Green Bay Packers, similar to Love, just game in, game out. He's been tremendous for Green Bay the last 2 years. Very good against the run, very good in coverage. Okay, so now, no, I'm not doing specialists, kicker, punter, long snapper. They're not football players, they're specialists. I'm not going there. Let's look at the teams that have the most and the teams that have the least. One team, if you watch both videos, has 5 players on this list, and that's the Detroit Lions. Second place is 3. Yes. The Detroit Lions have 5 players on this list, and they didn't make the playoffs. They did get these extra first-round picks in the Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff trade, and they used them to get a couple players on this list, but still, Detroit Lions, man, how did you go 9-8? That is such a talented team. And I think 4 teams have 3. Yes, 4. Seattle Seahawks, not a surprise, they just won the Super Bowl. Denver Broncos almost made it. If Bo Nix didn't get hurt, they probably make the Super Bowl. We'll never know. Green Bay Packers, very disappointing team. Just like Detroit, won 9 games. They won half their games if you count the playoffs. Very disappointing. I know Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons got hurt, but Matt LaFleur is just such a horrible coach. And the Chiefs, what a disappointing season for them. They, I think, were in 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls before this year, and they had a losing record. Just a terrible year for them, but still have 3. And I didn't even mention Patrick Mahomes. He's not even one of the 3. Okay, who had 2? A bunch of teams. Los Angeles Rams. So the Rams almost had more. There were about 3 or 4 Rams that were on the list when I'm doing research, when I'm doing my notes. And then I just had to delete them because there's better players. So Rams almost had more on this list. Houston Texans made the playoffs. 49ers, Eagles, same thing. Eagles would have had more last year. Not quite as good a season. Baltimore Ravens, too. Once again, very disappointing season. A lot of injuries, but still. Indianapolis Colts, Atlanta Falcons, Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. And then 1. Guess what? New England Patriots only had 1, Christian Gonzalez. They had some other players that were in contention. Buffalo Bills, just Josh Allen. He needs some help around him. Come on, Brandon Beane, get him some help. Chicago Bears, 1. They overachieved, had an easy schedule. Jacksonville Jaguars only had 1. That surprised me. They have just a bunch of good players. Maybe not enough really good players. And Minnesota Vikings 1, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dallas Cowboys, Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, Tennessee Titans, Arizona Cardinals, and Las Vegas Raiders. Yes, the worst team in the NFL, picking first in the draft. They have Brock Bowers, so they made the list. Now, 3 of the teams that have 0 on this list made the playoffs. 3 of the 6 teams. And, well, let me know if you think it's surprising. So the Los Angeles Chargers had 0. Just like the Rams, there were a couple Chargers that I had on the list but didn't quite make it. Pittsburgh Steelers, just just don't have as good a roster as they've had in past years. They really need to nail this draft. Carolina Panthers, well, they made the playoffs, won the division. They were 8-9. They had a losing record, so not too surprising. Now, the New Orleans Saints and the New York Jets have two of the worst rosters in the NFL, so that cannot come as a surprise. They have 0. Washington Commanders, they were in the NFC title game last year, and they sucked this year. I know their quarterback got hurt, missed about half the year, and Terry McLaurin was rarely healthy, but still, 0 people on this list. I guess it makes sense because they stunk this year. All right, so let me know in the comments below, which is your favorite pick, what's your least favorite pick on defense, and what team surprised you most that had 0. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Share this with anyone who loves football. I cover all 32 teams on this channel. Me and Mike, we do the Lights Out podcast. We're doing it tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Link in the description. We talk baseball, college football, and of course, NFL. If you have not checked out the offense, I'll link it right here, and I'll see you